today we are going to be going over our predictions for Week 16 of the 2024 NFL season. Before we get in this video, make sure in the comments section you let me know what you agree with and what you disagree with in some of your picks. And also make sure to subscribe as it helps the channel a lot. Without further ado, quickly look at our last week's performance. We went 12-4, pretty good, brings our total record up to 153-71. But let's get into these Week 16 picks. The Thursday night game is the 9-5 Broncos taking on the 8-6 Chargers. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites in this game. Chargers coming off a very unfortunate, very brutal loss to the Bucs. I think the score was 40-17. Yeah, that wasn't for a defense that has been all stellar all year long. To give 40 to the Bucs is not good. I know they're a great offense, but 40 is not where you want to be. And then the Broncos coming off of their huge win over the Colts to really cement themselves for that last playoff spot. Because if they would have lost that game, I could have easily seen the Colts sneaking in. But with the Broncos beating the Colts, it looks like they are likely going to get that spot. So that was huge for them. Thursday night game, divisional matchup, battle of two very good defenses. So it's about which offense can capitalize. Both of these defenses are actually tied for the fewest points allowed. The Chargers allow 17.6 points per game, and the Broncos allow 17.6 points per game. And their offenses are very similar as well. So this is a very even matchup. Chargers need this one if they want to sneak in the playoffs. Chargers are home, and I just don't think Herbert's going to have another bad game. I'm going Chargers 23-20 over the Broncos. The first of the Saturday games, we have the 9-5 Texans taking on the 13-1 Chiefs. Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. I believe Mahomes is going to play in this game, which obviously if he didn't play, I would easily pick the Texans here. But he may not be 100%, so that could definitely play a factor here in the Texans trying to pull off this upset. Texans defense played great against the Dolphins. The game was close, but it really didn't feel like it was close between the Texans and the Dolphins. Their offense, the Texans' offense, which has been up and down all year, has put together 4 pretty decent weeks over their last 4 games. And they're going against a very good scoring defense in the Chiefs, but if there's one aspect of the Chiefs' defense you can take advantage, that's their pass defense. Their secondary has not played great, and I think that will help Stroud out a lot. And I'm actually going to go Texans upsetting the Chiefs 24-21. The Chiefs can't have one loss all year, and I think if they're going to get their second loss, it will be to the Texans with Mahomes not 100%. Give me the Texans. The second Saturday night game is a huge divisional game here. Steelers 10-4 taking on the 9-5 Ravens. Ravens are actually 6.5-point favorites, which seems crazy to me. I know they're home and they're trying to avoid getting swept by the Steelers. I'm not sure because there's 2 games left, so I think the Steelers would clinch the division with a win here because they'd be 2 games ahead of the Ravens with 2 games left with the tiebreaker. So this is a huge game. Ravens pretty much tie up these 2 teams if they win, and I think the Steelers clinch the division if they win. So I think the Steelers are going to be ready to make this a lot closer than the odds may suggest. Steelers elite defense, Ravens elite offense. The last time these teams played, it was a very low-scoring game, and it played into the Steelers' hands. If it's a low-scoring game, Steelers win. If it's a high-scoring game, I'm going with the Ravens. And I just don't think the Ravens get swept here. I think it could be a higher-scoring game. Steelers coming off of a game where their defense did not look great against the Eagles. I'm pretty sure their defense is a little banged up as well. Their secondary is banged up. They don't have George Pickens. I'm going Ravens 28-24 over the Steelers. We have the 2 other AFC North teams here next. We have the 3-11 Browns versus the 6-8 Bengals. Bengals are 7.5-point favorites. I have a hard time in a division game having the Bengals winning by that much with how bad their defense is, especially going up against a team whose offense, if they're clicking, can score points. And now you get them playing a bad Bengals defense. So I think the Bengals can stay in this game, or the Browns can stay in this game. I think Jameis can have a bounce back game. I think, well, I assume Jameis is playing, but I guess DTR could play too. But I just think the Bengals offense is too much. And if it's going to be a shootout, I trust Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase over whoever the Browns quarterback is. But I do think this game will be close and high scoring. I'm going Bengals 31-27 over the Browns. This game right here is the starting debut of Michael Penix, the newly announced starter for the Atlanta Falcons, as the 2-12 Giants are 8.5-point underdogs versus the 7-7 Falcons. Falcons, although they won last week, you only beat the Raiders by 6 points, and you put up 12. They've scored like one passing touchdown in their last 4 or 5 games, I think. Their offense has not been good. And their defense, which played well last week, but it was against the Raiders, so I can't really. But now they get the Giants. I do think the Giants can put up more points than the Raiders, especially if Drew Lock's playing, because he might be the best quarterback the Giants have. And I do think Drew Lock, he's questionable right now, but I think he might play. I'm not sure. But I just don't think the Giants have the talent that the Falcons do. And I'm going, although he's a rookie quarterback making his debut, I do like Michael Penix. And if there's one game to make your starting debut against it or team, it is the Giants. I'm going Falcons 27-20 over the Giants. Next up is the 7-7 Cardinals taking on the 3-11 Panthers. Cardinals are 4.5-point favorites, coming off of their dominating win over a Patriots team, while the Panthers are coming off of an underwhelming performance against the Cowboys in a game which they were favored by for the first time in forever, or 2 years, whatever it was. Bit of an underwhelming performance. I do think, although the Cardinals' defense has been relatively decent, I do think their offense will play a lot better than they did against the Cowboys. I think they'll get back on track in that regards. I just don't think they will have any chance of stopping the run. I think they have big injuries on their linebackers as well. So a linebacking core and a defense that can't stop the run is now hurt, and you get one of the better rushing attacks with Kyler, James Conner, and I just don't see them being able to stop the run in the slightest. I think it can be close, somewhat, but I just don't know if the Panthers offense, although I think that, again, they will bounce back, I don't know if they'll bounce back enough. Give me Cardinals 28-20 over the Panthers. Another divisional game here. We have the 12-2 Lions taking on the 4-10 Bears. Lions are 6.5-point favorites, and I do think that they are, because they just lost to the Bills last week, a game that could be a little Super Bowl preview. Now that game has no tiebreakers between those two teams, because I guess it actually could if they meet in the Super Bowl, but there's no home field advantage. And the Bears coming off of a very bad loss to the Vikings. It was close at the beginning, but not really towards the end there. And just like when these teams played on Thanksgiving, I think it will be a lot closer than people think. The Bears' defense is very good. But are they good enough to stop the Lions? No. Jahmyr Gibbs could have an insane game as the true running back one against a very bad Bears run defense. Aaron Jones had himself a good game against them, and I think it will be the exact same with Jahmyr Gibbs. And although I trust the Bears to keep it close, I just don't think they'll have enough. Give me the Lions 28-24 over the Bears. Another divisional game here. The 3-11 Titans taking on the 6-8 Colts. Colts 3.5-point favorites. Last time these two teams played, it was a low-scoring, close game. Colts, I do think they still have a chance to get that last spot in the playoffs, but losing to the Broncos, because now they're 3 games behind. Actually, they might be eliminated now that I think about it. I'm not sure. I think they still have a small chance. They need a lot to go right. But I just don't know if they have it to make the playoffs. But I do think if they can beat the Titans here, Titans have been struggling all year long. And I think the Colts win another similar game to last time, 21-17 over the Titans. Next game we have is the 8-6 Rams versus the 4-10 Jets. Rams are 3.5-point favorites. Both teams coming off wins. Although the Rams offense did not look good against the Niners, the game was like 12-6. It was Niners have a good defense. The rain was downpouring. So I do think that they literally put up 40 2 weeks ago. I don't think they'll put up 40 against the Jets, although the Jets defense hasn't been good. I think the Rams can bounce back offensively, and I think the Jets can also have another pretty decent game with their offense as well, as the Rams defense hasn't been quite good either. But I just trust the overall team of the Rams a little bit more than the Jets, and I just don't know if the Jets offense will be able to score enough. Give me Rams 27-24 over the Jets. Eagles Commanders is the next game. Eagles 12-2, Commanders 9-5. Eagles 3.5-point favorites. Last time these teams played, the end score was somewhat close, but the game wasn't the closest for majority of it. And the Eagles are playing insane right now. I think they've won 10 straight games. So you would think at some point they're supposed to lose, but that normally is the case when a team's like undefeated. They're not undefeated. They got their losses out of the way, and they're just on a roll right now. Commanders, they got a win versus the Saints, but it was an ugly win. I just don't know if the Commanders have what it takes to beat the Eagles right now. They're obviously going in the right direction, but I just think the Eagles, I think the Eagles are just a more complete and experienced version of the Commanders. I think they're very similar teams, and I just think the Eagles have had this team, this talent a little longer, and it's just a little bit better than the Commanders. So I'm going Eagles 27-23 over the Commanders. Our first afternoon game, we have the 12-2 Vikings taking on the 8-6 Seahawks. Vikings 3-point favorites, coming off of a big win versus the Bears, while the Seahawks, a very disappointing game versus the Packers. We don't know if Geno Smith's gonna play. I don't know. It looks like he will play though. It looks like Geno Smith is healthy, so that can allow this game to be close. The Vikings are playing very, very good football right now, and I do think it'll be a high-scoring, close game. But as I like to do, I like to just lean towards the slightly more talented team, and I think the Vikings are just that. Close one, though. Vikings 28-27 over the Seahawks. Another division game here. 3-11 Patriots taking on the 11-3 Bills. Bills are 14-point favorites in this game, and I don't think many people are picking the Patriots at all to win this. As usual, I have liked what I've seen from Drake May. I think he is definitely showing you he can be your quarterback moving forward. Because given the situation he has around him, he is doing the best he can, and I don't think he's playing too bad. But you're running into a potentially the best team in football, in the Bills, and your defense will not support his defense will not support him whatsoever. I think the Bills score a ton of points. However, the Bills have given up 40-plus the last 2 weeks, so I do think Drake May can find the end zone a couple times. I think the Patriots as a team can find the end zone and maybe cover this spread, but I do think the Bills relatively easily win this game, 34-24 over the Patriots. Another Jags game that many people probably don't care about. Last week it was the Jets, even though that game was great. And now it's the Raiders. 3-11 Jags, 2-12 Raiders. Raiders are actually favored in this game, probably because they're home. But the Raiders defense, it's been good, but scoring-wise it hasn't. They give up a lot of points. So do the Jags. So you'd think that this would be potentially a high-scoring game, but the offenses just aren't good. Even if they play bad defenses, their offenses aren't good. Mac Jones has actually somewhat surprised me. He's played very solid these last few weeks. So I do think Mac Jones and Brian Thomas and the running backs in Jacksonville can get it done. And I trust their defense more than I trust the Raiders' defense. That's weird saying. You probably think the Raiders' defense is better. But without Max Crosby, I don't know. So I'm going Jags 24-20 over the Raiders. Niners-Dolphins is the next game. Both of these teams are 6-8. So Niners are 1-point favorites in this game. Both teams coming off of underwhelming offensive performances. Niners put up 6 points. Dolphins put up 12. And their defenses held their opponents to pretty good games. So I do think this will be a low-scoring defensive game. And I think it's about which offense you trust more. And I think I trust the Niners a little bit more than the Dolphins. And I also trust the Niners defense a little more than I trust the Dolphins defense. So I'm going Niners 21-20 over the Dolphins. Next game, the Sunday night matchup, we have the 8-6 Bucks taking on the 6-8 Cowboys. Bucks 4-point favorites coming off of their huge win over the Chargers. Did not see the Bucks putting up 40 against the Chargers. Cowboys coming off of their pretty easy win against the Panthers. So both these teams didn't have too much of a problem getting their wins last week. Both teams with not good defenses. Probably two of the worst defenses in the league. Okay, I don't know if the Bucks are there. At least their pass defense is not good. They got a good run defense, and because of that, because the Bucks have that strength on defense in their run game, I think if you can contain Rico Dowdle, you can pretty easily beat the Cowboys. But I just think this game will be close because of the lack of Bucks defense. But I'm gonna go Baker and Mike Evans in this one, taking on the Cowboys. I think they especially the Cowboys are at home too, so I think the Bucks win 30-27 over the Cowboys. Last game, the Monday night game, potentially the biggest spread of the week. The 10-4 Packers are 14.5-point favorites against the 5-9 Saints, and it also might snow in this game as well. Packers offense has been playing insane. Jordan Love's played like potentially a top 3 quarterback, for sure, top 5 quarterback these last few weeks. And the Saints, who even knows who their quarterback's going to be? Their defense has not been good. And I think the Packers will be able to put up points pretty easily against the Saints. And the only way the Saints can keep it close if their offense can respond. And I just don't think they can against a very good Packers defense. And this is actually going to be my lock of the week. I'm going Packers 30, Saints 17 to end week 16 in a pretty unfortunate way. At least, I guess not if you're a Packers fan. But that will conclude our predictions for week 16 of the 2024 season. As always, let me know in the comments some of your predictions. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.